Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Meredith and I'm so excited that you're hanging out with me today. We're going to be talking all things brows. I am known as the brow queen, which I wear that crown proudly. I love brows. I love doing brows. I love helping people achieve a pretty signature brow look. And I have a lot of thoughts on brows. So I'm going to share all of that with you guys today. If you haven't already, like this video and subscribe to my channel. I post a video every single Saturday. So lots of fun content going on here, but let's just dive right into some brows. Talk about my favorite brow products. I'm going to walk you through my favorites of all kinds of ways to do brows. So first and foremost, let me tell you my go-to brow product, which is this Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Pomade. I wear the shade medium brown, and it is just like the perfect gel consistency, and it is wonderful. It's easy to apply, it's easy to use, it stays on my brows all day long, and I've been using it for probably 5 or 6 years now, and I haven't found anything better. I know there's a lot of drugstore dupes. I know there's one by Maybelline that a lot of people love for a dupe, but I have not found anything that works as well as the Anastasia Beverly Hills one. Next, I have the NYX Brow Glue. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. It's actually pretty new to the makeup world, but it's honestly one of my favorite products, and it is so inexpensive. It is like, seriously, the name, brow glue. It will glue them down and they will stay put all day long, which is, who doesn't want that? I love this stuff. It comes with this tiny little brush and just works wonders. It stays put all day. Sometimes with gels, like a brow gel, I don't feel like it sets my brows where they're not going to move at all. So I love this product. Honestly, one of my go-tos. And for brow gels, I love this Covergirl Brow Gel. I have used the heck out of this thing. It is just demolished, but I've had it for so long. I just love it. It comes with like this mascara type wand, kind of like a curved mascara wand, and it works so good. This is the Covergirl Easy Breezy Brow. I think, honestly, the name's kind of scratched off, but I think it's like Shape and Define. But I love it. It has great color, really fills my brows in, and I wear it all the time. I need to buy a new one, but it's one of my favorites. In the world of brow pencils, there's so much to choose from. So I'm going to really give you some serious tips. If you are of the darker haired girl group like me, Anastasia Beverly Hills, their Brow Wiz, they have the best shades within the darker range. Now, if you are in the blonder, taupier, lighter hair group, Benefit does a really good brow pencil in a ton of good shades for more light-haired girls. So if you have dark hair, I suggest the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz, but if you have lighter hair, I think the Benefit brow pencil works really, really well, and they have much better colors. So that's just kind of my 2 cents on brow pencils. There's so much out there, so many good drugstore ones, but I'm telling you my all-time favorites are the Anastasia Beverly Hills and the Benefit brow pencils. So those are my go-to with brow pencils. I don't have any on hand. I have some in my like professional makeup kit, but I don't have that with me right now. So all of the things that I talk about are obviously linked below, so you can go shop everything down there if you're in need of some brow products. Let's talk about brushes. This baby right here is my all-time favorite brow brush. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills brush number 20. It's actually a flat brush, so you can see it's so thin. It is just so thin and flat, and I think it works so, so well. They have a ton of like angled brushes that I like, but I just don't love. I think angled brushes are a little bit harder for me to use, and I feel like I can achieve a better, more natural, fluffy brow when I use this flat one right here. And I'm going to show you exactly how I use it and apply the product in just a second, but this is my go-to brow brush. I've used this for so long, and I've used just about every brow brush ever, and this one's honestly my favorite. Next, there's an angled brush. So I know a lot of people love using a brush like this. So my favorite one that I have found is this one by Morphe. It's their M165. I use this more for powdered eyeliner, but it's really thin, and I really like how this part's not so long, so it's easier to control. So this one's one of my favorites, the Morphe M165. Like I said, it's linked below if you want to grab one. It's my favorite angled brush. It's just a preference. So if you just prefer an angled brush, that's my favorite. But if you want to try something new, give this guy a whirl. He is so, so good. My last little tip and trick is soap brows. So if you've never heard of that, I'm going to do a whole video tutorial on how I achieve soap brows. That's something that I do if I've tinted my brows, which kind of just tints the hairs and the skin and makes them look filled in. When I have that done, I usually just do soap brows because that's about all I need. And my favorite that I have found is this one by Kaida. I got it off of Amazon. It's Kaida Brow Styling Soap. So it just comes in a little packet like this. And it comes with these little angled spoolie brushes. And you just spritz your little spoolie. And then you run it through. And then you can use it on your brows. I'm not going to show you how I use that today. I'm going to do a separate video on that. But that is one of my favorite ways to do my brows, especially in the summertime when I'm just like on the go and I really want that like natural, summery, sun-kissed kind of look. It's one of my favorites. So those are really all of my favorite brow products. And now I'm going to jump in. We're going to get super close and I'm going to show you exactly how I achieve this brow look right here. So if you're interested in learning how I get this and exactly how I apply my products, you can just keep on watching. Like I said, we are up close and really personal, but I wanted y'all to just be able to see my eye and my brow as best as possible so that I could explain this to you. I kind of need to do my brows a little bit, but just tweeze them. But to start out, I brush through my brows like so. And I usually always do my brows before I do eyeshadow or anything, which is why I have nothing on my eye. So I usually do this step first so that if I have to clean up with any concealer, it doesn't mess up my eyeshadow. That's kind of my reasoning. So like I said, I'm going to go in with my brow pomade by Anastasia Beverly Hills. And I just take it, like I said, and just rub it on both sides just to kind of get my brush with some good amount of product on there. And then I take my hands and I pinch it off like that, and it makes it really, well, I just had coffee. My hands are so shaky. But it just makes it really easy for me to get a good, crisp, clean line, which is what you need. Whatever brow style you want, from really natural to really perfect, you're going to want to start your brow the same way. We want to define that bottom edge. That's going to give us a good clean line to know then the shape and then the direction we want the brow to go in. So it's really important that you identify where your arch is in your brow, which I have a pretty clear arch, and that's because, well, I've tweezed them in such a way that I can see my arch really well. We want to accentuate the arch, the tip, and then the beginning. So that's kind of our three main points in the brow. You already have a natural brow shape, so just going with your natural shape is going to be best for you, but there's ways that we can kind of enhance what you have and change it a little bit to get a better look. I'm going to start right here at this, right at the point before we get to the main point of the arch. And I'm just going to start with a little line. So you see how subtle that is, but it's kind of just defining where I'm going to start that line. And then I go a little bit closer, continuing that line, keeping it as straight as possible until I get to the front. So that just gives us one thin line that we're kind of just going to go off of the rest of the way. If we can keep this bottom line as clean as possible, it helps with cleanup later. So I'm just going to go back, darken it a little bit by adding a little bit more product just so that I can see that line pretty defined. And then we are going to blend this in, but this is just how I start. So you see we've just created a straight line that's going to help us with the rest of our brow. Taking a little bit more product, we're now going to do the arch, which this part is just going to depend on your specific eye. I'm going to try to do this where you can see. I usually take my brush, starting almost flat to where we were. Hopefully you can see this. Flat to where we were, and I'm just going to start to curve it. And then I'm just going to drag it down following my natural shape. All the way to the tip. And then brushing through, you see we haven't really created any more brow. We've just created a good line. And this is just going to help us when filling it in. So if you want to go for something really, really sharp, you can just go ham and fill all of this section in, and then filter and fluff through the front. But I like mine to be pretty natural looking, so I like to go really light-handed with the product. Continuing to grab more product and pinch it off, making sure this is seriously as fine as you can get it. I'm gonna go back now that we've created our line to the front, and I'm gonna feather this through, starting at where we've made that bottom line, going straight up, just creating faux hairs. And this is gonna help to blend that bottom line in with your brow and creating fullness in the front without making it look like a box, which that's kind of what we want to stay away from. We never want this front part of our brow to look sharp. That's not going to be natural at all. So keeping this front as faded as possible is going to give you the most natural effect. So just going back in with some more product, continuing to build up the color and creating more little hairs. Again, just starting at that bottom line and flicking my brush upwards. That's why I love this brush so much, is it helps creating these lines, makes it super easy, and creates really good faux brow hairs. And then I'm going to, once I've kind of done that at the front, I'm going to now move my brush from being like this to like this, and I'm going to set it on that bottom line and flick upwards. And that's going to kind of help to blend that bottom line into our faux hairs, into our little brush strokes, and make it all look super seamless. So you can already just tell how good that looks. It doesn't look super filled in. It looks so natural and really fluffy. And that's really what we want. Now I'm going to take a little bit more product, continuing to pinch the brush after every dip. And I kind of have a bald spot right here in my brow, which I just need to apply product straight on there. So I go in, not with my brush vertical anymore, but horizontal, and I'm going to just follow that line just slightly above. So kind of lightly fill in that spot. With brows, it's really important. You can always add more product, but it's really hard to take brow product off if you've applied too much. So just be really sparse with product, because you can always build up color, but man, is it hard to try and blend out brows if you put too much on. Okay, so again, not vertical anymore, horizontal, and I'm just kind of brushing through, following the direction of my brow hairs, just brushing through with a little bit of product on my brush, trying to keep them as natural as possible. Okay. As you brush through, you'll see little areas where maybe I need to add a little bit more on that spot. Like I said, much easier to add. So I'll get a little bit more on my brush. Really gentle with the product because it is really pigmented, so I try to make sure I'm as light-handed as possible, keeping good control of your brush, and it just takes time. Okay. Looking good. Now I need to do the tail. Grabbing more product, pinching it off, and I'm going to start as close to this line as possible, making downward strokes. Just kind of filling in this tail as much as possible. If any part of your brow is going to be the darkest, it needs to be the tail. That part can be really filled in because we kind of want that part to be more defined. And depending on how natural you want your brows to be, You could keep this, you could keep going and make them darker and fuller, or as light as you wanted to. If you wanted it to be really natural, instead of ever moving the brush vertical, horizontal, keep it all vertical and just go up the entire way. Go straight out from that line and you could create a really fluffy natural brow. So that's about good for me. I don't like it to be too filled in. I just will play with the tip until I get it to a good point. Fluffing it through with my spoolie to make sure everything looks good to me. And that looks pretty good to me. I'm gonna work right here just a touch, maybe create a little bit better of a curve. That's good. Any little touch-ups you want to do. So like I said, what I've been loving is my Brow Glue by NYX. I showed y'all this earlier, but it is just the bomb and I love using it. It just keeps my brows set all day long. But like I said, this product seriously doesn't move or smudge really at all, but I love having this brow glue on there. It just helps to create a really fluffy brow. This actually really looks good when I don't have any product in my brow to create kind of a brow lamination look, and looks so good. Going back in, I like to be pretty sparse with product, and then because I can always go back in. Just brushing through until I get it at the fluffiness that I want. And this is just like personal preference, whatever works best for you, but that's about how I like it. I like things to be a little fluffy on the ends, some going out of the lines there, but keeping it pretty clean at the same time. Now, for some cleanup. I have this really old brush that I have used for forever. It's by a brand called Isabella Scott. I really don't even know where I got it, but it just is like a flat domed brush, and I use it with concealer, like I said earlier, just on the back of my hand to help clean up any little mistakes that I've made. Less is more, so just a tiny bit of concealer on a brush will do the trick. And you can see I kind of went out of the lines just a little bit right there on the tail, so that's what I'm going to conceal just to help that be pretty sharp. See, that was just the tiniest bit of product, but it looks so much better. So that's kind of my quick brow routine. That's what I do just about every day. It's super quick. If I wasn't explaining it to you, it would take me like 5 minutes. But honestly, that's because I've done this for so long. So if you're having trouble getting your brows to look good, I would suggest taking your time. It's gonna take practice. Practice makes perfect. So be kind to yourself. Know that it's gonna take practice, but I love this brow pomade, and this is honestly my favorite brush for brows ever because it helps me to achieve a really fluffy, natural look, much better than an angled brush in my opinion. Alrighty guys, I hope you enjoyed my brow tutorial on exactly how I get these brows right here. I am obsessed with brows. It's my favorite thing to do and my favorite thing to help a girl out with. So if you have any questions on any of the products that I used or any specific questions about your brows, or you want to get your brows done by me, you can just hit me up in the comments, DM me on Instagram. Whatever works best for you works good for me, so hit a girl up. I love helping you guys however I can, so let a girl know if you need some help with your brows or suggestions on brow products for you. I'd love to help out in any way that I can. And don't forget, if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel and give this video a like. It helps me out so much. But thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. I'm so glad you were able to come and sit down and do some brows with me, but you are so loved, and I'm thankful for each and every one of you. I'll see you in my next video.